Hey y'all, hi. So today is kind of like the second installation in my series, now that there are two of them, reviewing makeup brands that I've never heard anyone else talk about. I did this a couple of years ago with the brand Ellis Foss. It was a brand that I had stumbled across, that some of you had recommended to me, and that looked absolutely delicious and artistic. I've never heard a peep out of anyone on YouTube about that brand before or since, but I did a review of it. And it was interesting to dig into a brand that's just not really on social media in the way that a lot of the familiar brands are. And I'm doing the same today with a brand that I, again, only know about because some of you have requested that I review it. It's this brand Manasi 7. I looked it up and I immediately understood why some of you have been asking for me to review it. Everything just looks exquisitely beautiful on every level. The products look luscious. The photography, the imagery associated with the brand is really special. The colors look subtle, grungy, and run the gamut from very light to very dark. It is absolutely a brand after my own heart, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it after the intro. Needless to say, what I'm doing today is going through 4 products from Manasi 7. I purchased them from the website Revolve, which I find is a really good source, especially for things that would be shipping from overseas if you bought them from the website, which is the case with Manasi 7. They're based in Europe. Revolve carries a lot of interesting makeup, and they ship everything for free. It arrives really quickly, super reliable. I think they have free shipping and free returns. I'm really happy to see that they're carrying this brand, and that was why it was so easy for me to do this review once I decided to do it. So I got 4 Manasi 7 products from Revolve. They're already all over my face. I'm going to be going through what I did today to achieve this look and talking you through each product in detail. I've been testing them for a long time, so I have opinions. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. So glad you're here. My name is Hannah. I love beauty. I love doing this kind of video, like a deep dive, thorough review of an interesting brand or an interesting product. But I also spend a lot of time here on my channel playing with the makeup that I already own and talking about my personal journey away from overspending on beauty. I think it's really important to keep a balance when it comes to a love of beauty. And for me, that balance often has to do with reminding myself how content I am with what I already have. I hope you subscribe if that sounds good and if you end up enjoying this. And now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. So Manasi 7 is a Swedish brand that describes itself as beyond clean. And what I think they mean by that is it's not just clean beauty in the way that that word gets thrown around and actually it's kind of meaningless. Everything is incredibly deliberate, deeply vetted. There's a lot of raw ingredients in the product. They're extremely conscientious about minimizing waste, supporting small-scale organic farming, using potent extracts from plants and minerals. It's just mindful from top to bottom and all across the board. I actually feel like a better term for what this brand is doing, a better term than clean beauty, which I think has kind of lost all meaning. A better term is slow beauty in the way that we talk about slow food and slow fashion. This is slow beauty. And that intrigues me partly because I'm interested in that kind of mindfulness and thoughtfulness going forward. I'm interested in any brand or company in any arena that is trying to be at the cutting edge of sustainability, like an integrated sustainability, rather than just using that as a marketing term. And it feels like maybe more than any other brand I've come across in makeup, that's this. Obviously, I'm just going based on like the vibe I get and what I've read on the website and the research that you can do based on that. But it feels pretty above and beyond compared to what I'm used to encountering even with brands that are claiming to be sustainable. And that's the other reason I'm interested in it, because it feels pretty unique. Like the degree to which that's what they're doing feels pretty unique in beauty. So when I saw that, and then when I saw all of the imagery associated with the brands, and when I started checking out the products, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna see what's going on with Manasi 7. And the first thing that I will say I learned when I started delving is that you pay for it. These products are expensive. They come in little pots. Pretty much everything that they make comes in a little pot like this. It's not a tiny amount of product. It's like half an ounce. For makeup, that feels like pretty hefty. Yeah, like the Extra Green Color Corrector is 1/4 of an ounce. NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, less than 1/4 of an ounce. So you're getting like twice the product that often comes in a package that's shaped like this. But still, each one costs about $50. So that's like luxury pricing. That's like buying a piece of Tom Ford makeup. When I think about the impact that a purchase like this would have on my wallet if I bought it with my own money, to be clear, I have a budget for my channel channel, like the business of the YouTube channel, has a budget for review. And every month I choose what to spend that budget on. Last month, I spent most of it on this video that I'm making right now. So that's where the money came from. I didn't spend my own personal paycheck on this. When I think about what impact it would have on my budget and my sense of like what I can afford to buy something like this with my own paycheck, I think, yeah, it would be like buying a piece of Tom Ford makeup. That would also kind of like dictate the specialness that it had to me, like the preciousness, the position that it would occupy in my life, on my vanity, how I would feel about it when I used it, etc. The difference here, I feel, is that it feels different to be paying a premium for slow beauty, like for those top quality ingredients, that conscientiousness, that integration. With Tom Ford, I feel like you're paying a premium for the name and often really good formulas that go along with that. But those formulas are like made in the same lab as MAC makeup, you know? So it has just partly to do with what formula ends up where in beauty, but it also has to do with branding. In this case, you're paying for something entirely different. You're paying for like that cutting edge that the brand is trying to forge. So that does feel different to me. But price-wise, like impact on your wallet-wise, this is up there with Victoria Beckham, Tom Ford, even Chanel, you know. It's like $50 for one little piece of makeup. It's a lot. And apart from all of that, all that I knew going into the review was just that the products looked really beautiful, like texturally, in terms of what they're designed to do, and the colors looked right up my alley. It was really difficult for me to choose which color of the eyeshadow product I was going to review, which color of the lip and cheek, or the all-over color, because there are so many in each of those categories that are beautiful for me, and so many that if they were in another brand, it would be like, that would be the only one I would like. So many subtle, earthy, mucky kind of colors, like mixed with brown or mixed with dun or beige or taupe. It's exactly the kind of thing that I love. I ended up getting the Eye Glow color, which is the eyeshadow product, in this really pretty, neutral, almost green-leaning bronze called Sublime. And I ended up getting the all-over color, the lip and cheek, in this cool-toned, neutral, almost mauve called Sisserou. And the other two products that I'm reviewing are the Strobelighter, which I just got in the palest shade, which is Celestial, and this really interesting product, this satin finish skin enhancer, which is a complexion product that comes in pure white. Of course, I was going to review this because one of my go-to products over the past 4 or 5 months since I reviewed it has been the pure white version of the House Labs foundation. I just really wanted to see if this would give me something similar, and I was curious about the texture. I'm always really curious about complexion products, and with a lot of brands, I can't even review their complexion products because they don't have a shade even close to mine. And a pure white is something that I can make use of, so I snapped this one up. The packaging is stunning. The packaging is stunning. It comes in these little boxes. So this, for example, is the box that the lip and cheek came in. It's like letterpress stamped, embossing stamped on the top like that. So pretty. Every box of the 4 is a different color. You know, of course, I had 4 different products that I ordered. These are the boxes. However, the little jars themselves are all the same. Like they all look the same except for the label that says the name of the product on it, the name and the color. And that I find slightly inconvenient because I can't tell at a glance which of the 4 products I'm reaching for. I think once I'm no longer storing these in my box of things that I'm reviewing on my vanity, and I kind of like separate them out, if I keep all of them into the appropriate areas of my collection, it'll be easier, right? Because the lip and cheek product or the all over color will be just like with my blushes. And so if I look at my blush and I see it, I'll know which one it is. The complexion one will be with my complexion products, etc. But having them just like grouped together in a little box on my vanity or sitting out on my vanity, I'm over here like opening and closing the lids like a fool trying to figure out which one is which when I go to test these products. I think that's everything about the packaging. Very promising. When it all arrived, I was like, whoa. And then I started testing and I found that there are some pros and cons. So let's get into the products. I'm going to go in order of how I applied this look to my face, starting with the complexion product. So this is the Manasi 7 Beauty Evolution Skin Enhancer with, it says, satin finish, and I have the pure white shade. It currently only comes in 4 shades. There's the pure white, which is obviously very, very light. There's a very deep shade. I don't think it's completely black, but it's like a deep brown. So the theory is that you can get the white and mix almost anything to kind of be close to your complexion, or mix one of the other 2 that they have that are more middling shades to match you, especially if your skin gets lighter in the winter. And then with the deep shade, you should either be able to use use it straight, like I am using this one straight, or mix one of the other two to get something that's close to your complexion. However, the two in the middle, neither one of them is neutral enough, like olive enough for me. So I can't do what they're kind of suggesting, which is to like pick one of the two shades that they offer and then pick your mix in and mix it. Mixing one of their more tinted skin enhancers with the white would never get me to a shade that matches my skin. So for me, the white one is the only one that makes sense. However, it makes quite a lot of sense because the way that redness kind of darkens my skin, makes it much darker than my neck and the rest of the skin on my body, is one of my primary concerns when I'm trying to make my skin more even toned in the morning when I'm putting on base product. So there have been many days when I've just used the White House Labs foundation with my green color corrector, and that's enough to get my skin where I want it to be. And it turned out that the same is true of this. In fact, it's even more pigmented than the House Labs foundation. I'll show you the close-up swatch that I did on the back of my hand before I put it on my face, and you'll be able to see that little goes a very, very long way. It makes sense that they're delivering it in such a tiny pot, even though it's a complexion product. It's super concentrated. It also feels much stiffer than the Lady Gaga foundation, which is really serum-y, almost like a BB cream. It feels super concentrated, and it feels almost like a pure pigment in a way, like an art supply. Like it really, really feels like a kind of art supplies, which is gratifying, but it took me some time to figure out that that's what it was going to be like and to figure out how to work with it. For me, the best way to use it is to put it directly on top of freshly primed or freshly skincare plumped skin. Today, I had the Make Beauty Reverse Emulsion on my face. I had put it on right before I came down to film. So it was still kind of there on the surface of my skin, giving it a nice, plump, smooth feel. And this product took to that really beautifully. If my skin's too dry when I go in with this product, it will be too dry. I find it to have more of a matte finish. It says it's a satin finish, and today when I applied it on top of the Make Beauty emulsion, spreading it out like a really thin layer, you can see it does look satiny. So when I have it on half of my face but not the other half, you can see that it's not just that it's helped to brighten my skin, the texture of the skin also looks really beautiful with this product on it. But my experience is that if I go in on really dry skin, just like directly in with this product, it'll be too dry. Not exactly to the point where it's like catching on dry patches. I haven't had it do that, but I have had it leave kind of a chalky finish that makes me think that it would be ideal for people with oily skin. I mean, I actually think that this is a really, really versatile product in that way, because if you have drier skin like I do, you can make sure that your skin is really well primed, or even mix it with something more emollient, which in the case of the white one, I usually do, right? I usually mix it with something like another concealer, or at the very least my green color corrector. And you know, you can definitely mix it with a skincare product or a primer, even with an oil. But if you have oily skin, going directly on top of whatever you use to prime with this product, it's gonna really work for you. That's my guess. I don't have oily skin, but it really feels like it could be versatile in that way. Because I feel like it sometimes is just this side of chalky. So when it's applied by itself, you can see the finish is lovely, again, because I took care to apply it in the way that works the best. Texture is lovely. And when I have it all over my face, you can see that it actually looks pretty great. It's a thin layer, it's rubbed into the skin, it's very adhered. It doesn't like create a skin on top that sets down. It really feels like it adheres, like it becomes one with the skincare. And because of that really stiff, pigmented quality, it feels pretty bulletproof. It's like the opposite of the Lady Gaga, the BB cream, which feels like it sort of sits on the skin as like a serum-y layer. It's really like serious makeup, hyper concentrated serious makeup. So in that way, all is lovely. It's just that my skin looks like pink compared to my neck. It looks as light as my neck, which is a real triumph for me. But because, again, you're seeing like the redness in my skin through the filter of the pure white pigment, it's turning it pink. And so I've got like this pink face and this like olive yellow neck. If I had not so much redness, or if I had more cool toned skin, you know, if I were more pink like that, I might be able to leave it at that. But because of my particular skin color concerns, I can't just leave it at that. However, when I go in with green color corrector on top of this product, which is what I did today, these days for me, I usually just mix it because I know what the outcome will be, but I wanted to show you it in stages today. And it works either way. Going in with green color corrector on top works like a charm charm. I just kept adding green color corrector until my face was the same color as my neck. And that was all that I needed. I didn't need to mix in something with more coverage. I did go through and spot conceal after that, just, because I have some scars and blemishes right now that are showing through that product. But all of the places where I didn't spot conceal, it was just the Manasi 7 complexion product and green color corrector on my skin, and that's it. And I love that because I feel like I ended up with an extremely natural skin look. Like it really, really looked like my real skin. You could see the dimensional quality of my skin, the glowy quality of my skin. Like you could see my skin through it, but it was very satisfactorily color corrected and brightened. And that's a look that I've really come to love. I struggled with this product a little bit at the beginning because it was so pigmented, so stiff, and would lean chalky if I didn't baby my skin a little bit in preparation. I was stymied a little bit at the beginning. And over the weeks testing it for this video, I have really come around and I've come to appreciate the truly natural sort of no coverage look and feel of the skin when I use this product in the way that I demonstrated today. I also feel like even with my best efforts with the Rose Ink Concealer or the Re-Evolve foundation from RMS, like the products I've been using that are really good matches for me, even my best efforts with those, I rarely get this brightened quality on my face and yet such a skin-like finish. You know what I mean? My skin often ends up looking really dewy and I counteract with powder and there's just more makeup on it. It's more makeup than this and still not quite as bright. This to me looks so bright. My overall face looks really, really bright and healthy and the finish is so controlled. I didn't powder at all today and I find that I don't have to powder when I use this product. So I've really come around. I would say that of all 4 of them, this complexion product here is my second favorite and the one that I've used the most actually of all of these Manasi 7 products. However, it's not all sunshine and roses. Let us move on to the Eye Glow color with a shimmer finish in the shade Sublime. Such a pretty color, so promising. I love this texture, this stiff cream texture in an eye product. I had really high hopes for this, especially because of how beautiful it looks in the imagery, how satisfying the texture looks in all of the pictures. Really high hopes. And before I show you what I did today, I'll tell you what I did when it first arrived. When it first arrived, I opened it up and I put on a full look. Trying to build it up in the outer corner, trying to buff it up. I tried to do what I do with the Tom Ford Cream and Powder, the cream in the Cream and Powder Naked Bronze, which is a really moussey, similar looking formula. It's in a pot like this. It's a set moussey cream. It blends out really well to a gradient and then it sets down on the eyes. And I just optimistically was hoping that this would do what that does. It does not. It does not. It feels like a product that has a lot of natural oils in it. So much so that it just doesn't stick to itself. It just doesn't layer. If you imagine trying to put, honestly, this is a weird comparison, but if you imagine trying to do an eye look with a bullet lipstick that's a satin finish, that's actually a little bit semi-sheer. I think you can see in the swatch of this that it's not super opaque. When you spread it around, it sort of starts to sheer out a little bit. So if you imagine a lipstick that has that same quality, not extremely sheer, but sort of semi-sheer and satin, glossy, stays nourishing on the lips because it has cocoa butter in it or something like that. If you imagine trying to do an eye look with that kind of texture of product, then you will know what it's like to do an eye look with this product. It doesn't set down. It doesn't set down at all. So I tried to do that and it was a complete disaster. I couldn't get it to build in the outer corner at all. It was very patchy. I couldn't get it to blend into a gradient either with my finger or with a brush. Again, because of the relationship between the product, the texture of it, the formula, and the pigment. It was there wasn't enough pigment for me to be able to get a gradient like that because it would just pick up and be gone if I started trying to blend it. And then when I tried to build it up on itself, again, imagine doing that with a lip balm or something. It just doesn't really have what it takes to layer. And then on top of that, it doesn't set. So it was immediately this creasy, slidey mess all over my eyes, but I never got it to look good to begin with, trying to put a thick application on like that, except for that it looked good in the kind of went to a rock concert all night and then slept in my makeup kind of way. You know what I mean? It was a very glossy, creasy, patchy lid the likes of which we sometimes see in the mags. So unless that's what you're going for, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. Like, you can't get this color. You can't get this dark brown color. It requires a level of opacity of the product the formula just doesn't support on the lids for it to actually look this way. And that was what I was expecting, because with things like Tom Ford cream powder, that's what it is. You can build it up in just 1 or 2 layers. You can build it up to look on your eyes exactly the way that it looks in the pan, and you just can't do that with this. So strategy number 2 is what I've been doing as I've continued to test it, and it's what I did today. Priming my eyes. I always am priming my eyes when I try this product because longevity is the issue. So I primed my eyes, and then I put on a very thin wash that I just tapped on with my finger. And you can see in the footage, and you can even see now, it's just a very, very sheer watercolory version of the color you're seeing here. You can't even really see any shine on the lids unless you look really close because it's just so incredibly sheer. Very much, again, like some kind of lip gloss or lip balm, pigmented lip gloss or lip balm, like the way that that would look spread out on the eyelids. I've avoided trying to create any depth, so I don't build it up in the outer corner. I don't try to create a smoky look with this. I don't try to build it up on the lash line because it just doesn't layer on itself. So the strategy has been to kind of try to put a thin dispersed layer all over both lids and to buff out a similarly dispersed layer on the lower lash line. And then maybe, just maybe, tap a little bit of extra in the center of the lid to deepen it up just a little bit. That's like the best I've been able to do. And I demonstrated that for you today. And it looks pretty beautiful, right? It's not what you might expect looking at the pot, but right after it's applied, it looks pretty beautiful. Subtle in its way, but like lovely, like a lovely, soft and kind of grungy glam makeup look, the kind of thing I do on a near daily basis. Add a little mascara, it looks even better. It's just beautiful right after you apply it if you do it that way, if you just put on a super thin layer. However, it creases instantly, and you can see, it was less than an hour ago that I filmed this. I filmed myself applying the makeup, then I went straight into this part of the video, and you can see it's already creased. And it's not in that cute way that the Rowan quads crease where it's like you get some gathering, but the pigment is enough and the texture is enough that it also stays behind on the lids. With Rowan, it's just like the more you blink, the more the cream starts to bunch up a little bit in the lines of your eyes, but it doesn't like detach from your lids. And then with the Rowan quads, it's really easy to repair because you just tap at it and it spreads it all back out. But with this, it's like when you do that, it picks it up. So it's like picked it up underneath the lines where it gathered. When I tapped it, it picked it up, and now it's bare underneath there. So I've got this sort of like slightly striated, bare, patchy lid, and there's less product on it, and it looks less pigmented than it did when I first applied it. It doesn't repair in the way that the Rowan, I'm citing the Rowan quads because they're these like cream eyeshadows that are a little bit unstable and creasy on the lids, but I really like how it looks because it retains the structure, retains the overall vibe, is really easy to repair even without a mirror. And so you can get that kind of like slept in my makeup after rocking out all night look, but without compromising wearability. In this case, for me, the wearability factor is quite low. And I'm sorry to say, because I actually love how it looks right after it's applied, especially now that I figured out how to do it. I'm sorry to say that for me, it's pretty much a wash. I think the exception to that would be if you are one of those people who doesn't have any hooded structure on your lids. Like if your eyelids are just, when they're open, they're completely exposed. If you have those like big round eyelids that don't recede back into the hoods of your eyes, you would probably have better luck with this than I do. I think that the caveat in that case would just be that it doesn't really build on itself and set down the way that creams do. So if you're willing to just have a super soft wash of color and you're not going to get the immediate creasing that hooded eye people are going to get, maybe it would be worth it to give this product a try. But for me, I would like to see them reformulate with something, an ingredient in it that just makes it a little bit more stable. Because I have always felt every time I've tried to wear this, I have felt like I'm putting something on the eyes that's not really supposed to go on the eyes. It just isn't meant to be used for eye looks. That's why I talked about using like a lip balm or a satin lipstick or something, because that's what it feels like. It feels like using the wrong formula for the job. So far we have one hit, which is the complexion product. We have one miss for me, which is the eyeshadow. And happily, we now move on to what I think is the biggest hit of all among these 4 products that I tested, and that is the all-over color. I love everything about this one, the one that I picked, Sisserou, although it was hard for me to choose because there are so many beautiful, neutral, wearable, interesting shades in this product. There are so many. Like, there's a shade that looks like coffee with a ton of cream in it, you know, like that kind of thing. I just love that. I was hard pressed to pick just one, but they were $50, so I could only pick one. However, I'm really glad that I ended up with Sisserou. I like the super muted, almost gray toned mauve. It suits me very well because there's nothing in it that makes it go too orange or too pink. So I put this on my cheeks first. I absolutely love the way it looks. Again, because I have green undertones in my skin, it really sets off the mauve in this, like basically the purple in it, the red. So it ends up looking more like a blush on me than I think it will on some people, on whom it will look a little bit more like a contour, like something muted, or like your cheeks are really cold, which I think is a very beautiful look, but it doesn't quite get me there. It just looks like a natural and kind of exciting, sophisticated blush color. I think that's great about it is, again, the same as with the complexion product, it has this stiffness. It's not slidey or creamy. It feels like it's not going anywhere once it's applied. It feels hyperpigmented. It feels like you can really control how much you build up on your cheeks. It feels like art supplies. It feels like the world is your oyster. Like you can do with it whatever you want, and it's very, very effective. I personally love the extremely skin-like finish that I got on my cheeks with this. That's partly due to the fact that I didn't really have much on underneath it, so it wasn't layering on top of a completely blanked out canvas. It was pretty much going straight onto my skin, only mixing a little bit with the green color corrector and the white complexion product that were on there. So you could really see my skin through it, and you could kind of see the glowiness of my skin prep through it. And that's just the way that I like to apply cream blush, and I like the outcome of doing that with this. I really like the skin finishing quality of it. It really feels like pure pigment for anywhere on the face. Now, the thing that I haven't done is to put this on the eyes because I've been so obsessed trying to figure out what's going on with the eye glow color from Manasi 7 that every time I've tested these, I've just focused on that. Dare I try to do it right now? I don't want to mess things up. My suspicion is that it will perform better on the eyes than the eye glow color because it's not as emollient as that, weirdly. The color is very pretty on the eyes. It's a little bit hard to tell how it will wear over time because right now I'm putting it down on top of like the dregs of what was already there, which was something quite emollient. I suspect that it will be better at being eye makeup than the actual eye makeup, but not as good at being eye makeup as other eye makeup because at the end of the day, it's still got like this creamy quality. It's still something you're supposed to be able to wear on your lips, you know? But one of the things that's nice about it is it's just like the complexion product. It's sort of dry. Like it really feels like concentrated pigment that you are like pushing into your skin and like melding with your skin. And it does the same thing on the lips. So I applied this in a video, which I will link in the description box, a couple of weeks ago, just trying new makeup. And in that video, I applied a very, very thick layer of this color to my lips. Like I built it up like a vampy lipstick and it looked kind of like gone grayish, like kind of edgy, really, really beautiful and lipsticky. And it's possible to do that. The way that I'm wearing it today, though, is how I've been wearing it, which is basically staining my lips with it. That's what it feels like it does. Actually, both this and the complexion product, they feel like they give you the ability to kind of stain your skin with pigment. So my lips are pretty dry today, and I did have a little bit of lip balm on earlier, but it had worn off by the time I was doing this. I rubbed Sisserou into the skin of my lips, and in doing that, like darkened them and enhanced the shape a little bit, but it's not like sitting on top of my lips like a lip balm. It's basically completely sunk in, and my lips have sort of gone back to feeling a little bit dry. And at close range, they really look like lips. You know what I mean? They don't look like lips with a shiny layer of something on top of them. But the color is still there. They have this like saturation that my lips don't have when I haven't used a product. I love that. I love that look, that extremely natural, integrated into life, enhanced but not covered up, like pigment quality. I just love that kind of thing. I feel like that is the best of what this brand has to offer, and that is also what's going on with the the complexion product. In both of these cases, I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like I've rubbed pigment into my skin, sort of stained my skin to be a color that's enhancing my overall aspect, and then going about my day. I just absolutely love it. I know that some people really want to feel like their lips are like slathered in product and like super plump and juicy and slidey, and that is lovely some of the time. But this is so novel and so realistic to me and just integrates so well into normal life and feels so special, and I just really love it, especially given that the range of colors is so unique. This is the one that I would say is the hero product of the brand. Even if I didn't already know that this is what I think they identify this as their hero product. I think it's like the best seller. It's sort of like the famous one, like the super successful one. I'm totally not surprised that that's the case. It's the only one of the products I got that makes me want to buy more of it, like try more colors of it. It's the one that I would like give as a gift to someone because it's so versatile. If you really want to dip your toes in the water of this brand, if you got $50 burning a hole in your pocket, it's this product that I would recommend trying as like your way of testing the brand. Okay, lastly, and I thought kind of leastly until today, the Strobelighter in Radiant Finish in the color Celestial. This product has the same kind of stiff, really malleable finish, stiff, sort of almost dry, sturdy, paste-like, super concentrated feel of the other products for sure. It doesn't feel grainy, but it kind of looks like it would, if that makes sense. The thing that it reminds me of, spot on, like the thing it is exactly like, which I'll tell you just in case you've tried it so then you'll have that comp, is the Rose Ink highlighter. The set cream highlighter in a compact that Rose Inc released, I think, with their second round of makeup products. It is just like a whole bunch of that scraped up and pressed into a pot. It's like a dead ringer for that. And that product, it has, and this one, they both have kind of this interesting quality where they're like set and dry, and they can become kind of balmy when you work it up with your finger, but then they kind of set and dry again. Like a cream to powder quality almost. That's appealing, pretty appealing. And the thing that's really appealing to me about that is that it is a cream product, but it absolutely does not stay tacky on the skin because it's just never tacky. It's not tacky in its life. And like, my hair isn't sticking to this glossy cream cheek that I've got going on because it's dry. It's creams that have created the look, but they're dry in their aspect. So I really like that because I don't like a sticky cheek. But until today, I felt kind of disappointed by this product because for whatever reason, under my vanity lighting in my bedroom where I've been testing these products, it just isn't glowy. It just looks sort of like a dull, slightly pearlescent paste. When I first opened it and put it on, I was like, it's like the Emperor's New Clothes. Like it sort of just seemed like it was covering the color underneath it, and it just wasn't shining, wasn't glossy. And I was like, how can they call this Strobelighter? But the thing is, that's exactly what happened with the Rose Ink one. I remember feeling like it wasn't shiny, it wasn't glossy, and it didn't look at all like the extremely wet look, reflective cheek that I was seeing in the imagery, in the brand imagery. And then I applied it, still talking about the Rose Ink one, I applied it one evening at my vanity when like the light was coming in and I didn't have the vanity lights on. It was like a different quality of light at a different time of day. And I put it on and it was like drenched cheek. Like it looked just so beautiful in that light. And I realized that it was just lighting sensitive. And there are some lights, especially natural light, under which it looked really, really beautiful and glossy. But then there were some lights under which it sort of just disappeared, which is really nice. Like that's a really pretty quality in a highlighter. But there's something about like the frontal lighting from my vanity that wasn't allowing me to see that. The exact same thing has been going on with this because I've been feeling this entire time like it was sort of a dud product. The texture's lovely. I like that it's dry. It applies really well. And then it was giving me nothing in my mirror upstairs. And you can kind of see what I'm talking about when I swatch it. So when I first swatch in the back of my hand, you can see it's sort of just this white pearlescent paste. And even when I blend it out and hold my hand up close to the camera, it's not really shining. And then when I apply it to my cheek under this lighting, it really shines. And today when I did that, that was the first time that I saw it doing that. When I was filming the B-roll for this video and I applied it to my cheek, I was like, oh, it's actually like so pretty. That sort of pearly whiteness in the pigment has softened the strength of the cheek color a little bit, which has pros and cons, I think, depending on who you are and what you want on your cheeks. Some people won't like that and some people will. But that really lovely kind of damp shine is still there. And it's like a texture diffusing shine, I like that. So So I'm still sort of forming my feelings about this product because I came to the table here today expecting to be like, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And now I'm starting to think it is something kind of special, and I just haven't really seen it in the right light, literally, until today. So my review on this is a little bit greener than my review on the other ones, but at least I'm able to tell you if you happen to get it and you're like, why isn't it shiny, to try different lighting because I think if you're just lit like flat from the front, you can't really see it. There has to be like a little angle going on. And I'm glad that I've sort of figured that out today. I bet it would be nice on the brow bone too. Like seeing that it actually does have this shininess is making me want to put it in other places on my face. And I'm going to do that right now. I don't know if it's catching the light from there. It is so sturdy and sort of dry feeling that I feel like it might actually also be kind of sustainable in a very thin layer tapped on the lids. I could kind of see it working that way. I ended up kind of tapping it on the lids a little bit, so we'll see. What an intriguing, somewhat hit or miss brand. I mean, really just one miss. Like, if I had to put it into one sentence, I would say it's a really beautiful, special brand for which you pay a premium because it's true slow beauty. And I don't recommend the eyeshadow product, period. Like, that's the whole story. I think that I will continue to use the Skin Refining Concentrate. That's what it feels like. The Skin Refining Concentrate the most out of all of these products. And I think that I will continue to use the All Over Color, mostly on my lips. I forgot to tell you about that product, that it has a little bit of a vanilla scent, like a really lovely, natural, light vanilla scent. So it feels like it's quite appropriate for the lips as well as the cheeks and the eyes. The other products are totally unscented, so it's really asking to be used as like a lip stain or lip color. And I love the color. So that's my guess now as to what my interaction with these products is going to be like going forward. Although I'm going to continue to play around with the strobe light for the cheeks, and who knows, maybe I'll fall for it. I'll try to remember to report back, and a huge thank you to those of you who put this brand on my radar. I would never have stumbled across it on my own. If this was your first time watching my channel, again, I hope you'll decide to subscribe before you go. It doesn't cost nothing, and it makes a big difference to me. Thank you so much if you are subscribed, and thank you so much for all the liking and commenting that you do. I appreciate you all to no end, and I hope that you are taking extra good care of yourselves, that you can be the most effective versions of yourselves as you do your work in the world.